everyone. In the previous class, we studied in detail about an animal fiber, which is the wool. In today's class, we will be dealing with another animal fiber, that is the silk. Before I go into details of how silk is produced, let me tell you a short story. Okay. Now in China, there was an empress. Her name was Shi Lung Chi. Okay, empress vaneko Rani. Okay, and she had a royal garden. So one day when she was walking through the royal garden and enjoying a cup of hot tea, she noticed that the mulberry tree was being attacked by worms. So एक दिन चिया खाँदै खाँदै आफ्नो रोयल गार्डनमा जब वहाँ एम्प्रेस रानी हिँड्नु भयो, त्यहाँ के देख्नु भयो भन्दा चाहिँ मलबेरी ट्रीमा चाहिँ जुसुलेले अट्याक गर्दै रहेछ. Okay, the mulberry tree were being attacked by worms. Further, she saw that the worms had woven a hard shell around itself. Okay, र त्यो worms ले आफ्नो वरिपरि एउटा hard shell पनि बनाएको रहेछ. So she collected some of those shells, and while she was observing that shells carefully, one of the shell accidentally fell into her hot cup of tea. Right? So जब उहाँले त्यो shell examine गर्दा गर्दै accidentally त्यो shell चाहिँ hard shell चाहिँ उहाँको cup of hot tea मा झर्यो. So after falling into that cup of hot tea, she saw fibers coming out of that hard shell. धागो जस्तो मसिनो चीज निक्ल्यो. छाम्दाखेरि that fiber was both soft and it was also very strong. So those fibers are the silk fibers. This is how silk was first discovered accidentally in China. Okay, so यसरी silk चाहिँ केबाट पाइँदो रहेछ भन्दा चाहिँ we get silk from silkworms. So to obtain silk, what do the people do? They rear silkworm. जसरी शिपबाट वुल पाउनको लागि शिपलाई पालिन्छ, त्यस्तै गरी सिल्कवर्मबाट सिल्क obtain गर्नको लागि सिल्कवर्म्सलाई पालिन्छ. पाल्नु भनेको rear गर्नु. So that process is known as sericulture. Okay, जब silkworm पाल्छ मान्छेले for obtaining silk, that is sericulture. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is known as sericulture. Okay, sericulture. So let us now study about the life history of silk moth or the silkworm. So silkworm को life history कस्तो पाराले कसरी उले life start गर्छ, त्यहाँदेखि कुन चाहिँ stage मा जान्छ त्यसलाई जान्ने भन्छौँ life history or the life cycle. Okay, so first मा जब silkworm ले when it starts its life in the form of eggs. Okay, the female silk moth lays eggs on the leaves of mulberry tree. रानीले त्यो सिल्क वर्म्स चाहिँ मलबेरी ट्रीमा नै के रे लीव्स खाँदै गरेको भेट्नु भएको थियो. So these usually they lay eggs on the leaves of mulberry tree. Okay, so then the eggs hatch. अन्त त्यहाँबाट के निक्लिन्छ? eggs hatch गरेपछि भन्दा चाहिँ and produce larvae. Okay, larvae is plural, singular is larva. Singular मा चाहिँ e हुँदैन. Okay, so they produce larvae, which is known as the caterpillar, which is also known as the caterpillar or silkworm or silkworm. So second stage मा चाहिँ first stage मा चाहिँ female silk moth ले eggs lay गर्छ. सेकेन्डमा त्यो एग्स ह्याच भएर चाहिँ त्यसबाट चाहिँ क्याटरपिलर अथवा सिल्कवर्म निक्लिन्छ ओके the caterpillar grows in size then say the caterpillar grows in size बढ्छ okay grows in size and enters the next stage of life enters the next stage of life called the pupa so caterpillar बाट चाहिँ अब next stage of life हुन्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ भन्छ हामी pupa now pupa is like a net which is like a net which the worm weaves to hold itself so यो नेट चाहिँ कसले बनाएको भन्दा चाहिँ त्यही सिल्कवर्मले आफै बनाएको उसको वरिपरि एउटा नेट लाइक स्ट्रक्चर बनाउँछ त्यो नेट लाइक स्ट्रक्चर भित्र चाहिँ वो बस्छ so that is the pupa okay so the worm inside the pupa अब pupa त बाहिर भयो नि त है भित्र चाहिँ worm छ silkworm छ the worm inside the pupa moves its head आफ्नो टाउको मुभ गर्छ okay moves its head in the figure of 8 भनेको यस्तो टाउको चाहिँ यस्तो पाराले मुभ गर्छ 8 बनाउँदै मुभ गर्छ this movement causes a secretion of fiber okay this movement causes secretion of a fiber which is made up of protein okay which is this fiber is made up of protein so when the worm moves its head in the figure of 8 like this fiber बनिन्छ धागो जस्तो बनिन्छ that fiber is made up of protein okay and the worm covers itself with this fiber the worm covers itself with it so त्यो फाइबरले आफ्नो बडी डल्लै कभर गर्छ this protein or this fiber on exposure to air hardens so जब यो फाइबर यो बाहिरको प्रोटिन चाहिँ जब हावासँग कन्ट्याक्टमा आउँछ त्यहाँदेखि त्यो हार्ड हुन्छ and forms a covering okay and forms a covering that covering is known as cocoon which is known as cocoon okay so cocoon is the next stage of life of the larva okay then the pupa further develops inside the cocoon to become silk moth okay so this is how the life cycle occurs so त्यसलाई simplify गर्दा in case of flow chart गर्दा first मा female silk moth ले it lays eggs हैन female silk moth ले eggs lay गर्छ then eggs बाट के बनिन्छ larva or the caterpillar or silkworm निस्किन्छ त्यहाँदेखि silkworm बाट के बनिन्छ pupa बनिन्छ then the pupa will developing pupa will then become silk moth, and that female silk moth will again give eggs. Okay, so यस्तो पाराले eggs देखिनको उसको लाइफ सुरु भएर larva, pupa भित्र develop गरेर then finally it becomes the silk moth, and then that female silk moth will lay egg again. अन्त यस्तो पाराले cycle चलिरहन्छ. So I have brought a picture. This is depicting, it depicts the life cycle of silk moth. हेर्नुस्, so राम्रोसँगले हेर्नुस्. फर्स्ट स्टेजमा एग हुन्छ है, one ले चाहिँ एग छ. So female silk moth will lay egg on these mulberry leaf, then that egg will hatch out and become this larva, or it is also known as the caterpillar or the silk silkworm. Then it becomes pupa. हैन, so बाहिरपट्टि उले एउटा कभरिङ वीव गरेको छ हैन, उसको बाहिरपट्टि एउटा कभरिङ छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ भनिन्छ हामी प्युपा. त्यहाँदेखिको त्यो भित्र चाहिँ प्युपा भित्र चाहिँ बसेर चाहिँ डेभलप हुँदै गरेको हुन्छ. The moth is developing inside the pupa, and finally after the pupa is fully developed, out comes the adult, that is the silk moth. Okay, so यस्तो पाराले चाहिँ life cycle of silk moth takes place. Okay, now if you remember that story, okay को के रे silk first मा discover भएको तपाईले त्यो story, if you remember or recall that story, केबाट चाहिँ फाइबर निक्लेको थियो भन्नुस् त त्यो स्टोरीमा. जब चाहिँ त्यो hard shell, when that hard shell accidentally fell into that hot cup of tea, then the silk fibers came out. So केबाट त्यो hard shell भनेको चाहिँ के हो? cocoon. Okay, hard shell जुन चाहिँ त्यो प्युपाले आफ्नो वरिपरि बनाउँछ, that is the cocoon. So we get silk fibers from cocoon. Okay, so silk fibers is obtained from cocoon. Obtained from cocoon. किनभने cocoon चाहिँ प्रोटिनले बनेको fibers hard भएको हो नि त. So त्यो fibers त्यहाँ छ. So that from that cocoon silk fibers is obtained. So let us see how from cocoon silk fibers is obtained, from cocoon to silk. Okay, so first stage मा त again egg को कुरा हुन्छ. The female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs. एक तालमा hundreds and hundreds of eggs lay गर्छ. Okay, these eggs are stored. यो eggs लाई टिपेर collect गरेर it is stored in a strip of paper. Okay, these eggs are very very fragile, so collect गरेर राम्रोसँगले राख्नु पर्यो in a strip of paper or cloth. एउटा लुगाको टुक्रा या त पेपरको टुक्रामा यो कलेक्ट गरेर राखिन्छ, and then it is sold to silkworm farmers. Okay, and sold to silkworm farmers. Then what do the farmers do? After taking them to their places, the farmers grow the eggs in suitable temperature. Suitable एउटा particular temperature मा farmers हरूलाई थाहा हुन्छ. So त्यो suitable temperature मा grow गर्छ. Okay, they put the eggs in suitable temperature and allow the larva to hatch. Okay, allow the larva to hatch. So यस्तो पाराले suitable temperature मा त्यो eggs लाई grow गरेपछि त्यसबाट के निक्लिन्छ? Larvae or the caterpillar or the silkworms. Okay, so यो hatching चाहिँ जतिसुकै बेला गरिँदैन है. Suitable temperature, किनभने त्यसलाई स्टोर गरेर राखिराख्दा हुन्छ नि. जब उनीहरूले त्यो मलबेरी ट्रीमा फ्रेश लिभ्स आउँछ नि, त्यति बेला मात्रै त्यो लार्भालाई चाहिँ त्यो एग्सलाई चाहिँ सुटेबल टेम्परेचरमा राखेर त्यसबाट लार्भा निकाल्छ. किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ लार्भा दे फिड अन मलबेरी लिभ्स नि त. सो व्हेन देयर इज नो मलबेरी लिफ लार्भा निकालेर पनि के फाइदा छैन, त्यो त मरिहाल्छ। सो के गर्छ, जब मलबेरी ट्रीमा फ्रेश लिभ्स आउँछ पलाउँछ त्यति बेला चाहिँ दे विल ह्याच दैट एग्स इन्टु लार्भी। ओके, सो दिस इज डन, this step is done in season when the mulberry tree bears fresh leaves. Okay, fresh leaves. So त्यहाँदेखिको त्यो लार्भालाई चाहिँ the larvae are then kept in trays. Okay, larvae are kept in trays, मसिनो ट्रेज मा राखिन्छ along with mulberry leaves. अब mulberry leaves खानु पर्यो, so mulberry leaves सँग त्यो लार्भालाई राखिन्छ। Okay, so these larvae they eat day and night. खाकै गर्छ, the larva eat throughout the day and night, continuously दिन रात खान्छ अनि त्यहाँदेखि खाएर दे ग्रो इन साइज। ओके, एन्ड ग्रो इन साइज। सो खाँदै बस्दै सो ठुलो साइजको हुन्छ। ओके, सो आफ्टर 25 to 30 days, अब खाएको 25 दिन 30 दिन 1 महिनासम्म कन्टिन्युसली यिनीहरूले दिन रात खाएको नबिसाइकन खाएको गर्छ अनि त्यहाँदेखि ठुलो हुन्छ। सो आफ्टर 25 to 30 days they will stop eating. Okay, so after 25 to 30 days the larvae stop eating and start spinning cocoon around themselves. So त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ 20-25 दिन चाहिँ खायोपछि चाहिँ त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ स्टप गर्छ अनि त्यहाँदेखि उनीहरूले आफ्नो वरिपरि चाहिँ दे स्टार्ट स्पिनिङ cocoons around themselves. अब त्यो cocoonबाट चाहिँ हामीले silk fibers निकाल्छ. So those cocoon are collected and they are boiled or steamed. Okay, so the cocoon are boiled or steamed. Bath लगाउँछ. Okay, they are boiled or they are exposed to steam. These are exposed to steam. So when they are boiled or when they are exposed to steam, the silk fibers are separated. To separate the silk fibers. Okay, now the process of taking out threads from the cocoon is known as reeling of silk. Okay, and the reeling चाहिँ यो special machines ले गरिन्छ, reeling of silk. So अब त्यो जुन चाहिँ cocoon छ त्यसलाई कलेक्ट गरेर it is boiled or it is exposed to steam, त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ fibers separate out चाहिँ हुन्छ, छुट्टिन्छ अनि त्यहाँदेखि त्यो fibers बाट चाहिँ अब thread निकाल्नु पर्यो नि त. So that is known as reeling of silk and this is done by special machines. Okay, reeling of silk is done by special machines which unwind किनभने सबै डल्लो परेको हुन्छ. So त्यसलाई चाहिँ unwind गर्नुपर्छ नि त त्यो thread लाई. So done which unwind the threads from the cocoon. Okay, so यस्तो पाराले चाहिँ के गरिन्छ, silk fiber निकालिन्छ. The silk fibers are then woven into silk threads from which silk cloth are woven. So silk fibers बाट silk thread निकाल्छ अन्त त्यहाँबाट silk thread लाई बुनेर चाहिँ त्यसबाट चाहिँ silk cloth निकाल्छ. Okay, so यस्तो पाराले चाहिँ we get silk articles अथवा silk को लुगाहरू चाहिँ हामीले यस्तो पाराले पाउँछ. पहिला त्यसलाई silk fibers लाई अलग अलग छुट्याउँछ, त्यहाँदेखि त्यसबाट thread बनाउँछ अनि त्यहाँबाट लुगा बनाउँछ. Now in the market or if you ask your mother, she'll be knowing. So in the market different kinds of silk are available. Different varieties of silk are available. So कसरी चाहिँ यो different varieties of silk आको भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ because there are different varieties of silk moth. जसरी हामीले last class मा पढेको थियौ नि sheep को पनि different breeds हुन्छ. So different breeds हुन्छ, त्यो different breeds बाट different kinds of wool निक्लिन्छ नि त है. So त्यस्तै गरे similarly silk moths are there are a variety of silk moths which give a variety of silk. Okay, so there are different varieties of silk moth which give variety of silk having different texture. Okay, so सबै silk moth बाट आएको silk सबै एउटै प्रकारको हुँदैन. कोही खस्रो होला, कोही soft होला, कोही shiny होला, कोही non shiny होला. So यस्तो पाराले different varieties of silk moth हुन्छ. त्यो silk moth बाट निक्लेको silk पनि different kinds को हुन्छ. Some of the silk that are obtained are known as muga silk, है. अर्को भनिन्छ तसार silk, kosa silk. So these different varieties of silk are available in the market. Even in India, हाम्रो इन्डियामा पनि different varieties of silk पाउँछ. One famous variety of silk is Kanjivaram silk sarees. All of you might have heard about it. Kanjivaram silk sarees, these are obtained from Tamil Nadu. Okay. त्यस्तै गरी muga silk is obtained from Assam. Okay, muga silk is obtained from Assam. Assamबाट muga silk पाउँछ. This is kind of shiny kind of silk. And Tasar silk is obtained from Bihar and West Bengal. Okay, Tasar is obtained from Bihar and West Bengal. So यस्तो पाराले इन्डियामा पनि we get a variety of silk. Okay, this is all about silk and silk fiber. With this, we've come to the end of the chapter Fiber to Fabric.